A single cough in a crowded market, that can become a global crisis in just a matter of weeks. And in our world today, that's not some movie plot. It's a very real possibility. So, what's our defense? Well, it's not just about doctors and hospitals. It's a global shield, an invisible network that's designed to protect every single one of us. And today, we're going to break down exactly how that shield works. It's really the ultimate public health question, isn't it? How do we spot that one deadly spark before it turns into this massive, uncontrollable fire? The answer isn't just about reacting faster, it's about seeing the threat before it even fully emerges. So imagine this, a global alarm system that literally never sleeps. It's constantly scanning for the absolute faintest signals of a new disease. And that's not science fiction, that's our reality. It's not one single piece of technology, but this incredibly complex web of people and processes that make up our first and most important line of defense. Okay, let's really get into the details of this silent alarm, because to truly appreciate the defense, you have to understand the threat. We are in a constant, quiet battle against new and re-emerging diseases. That threat never rests, so you better believe our alarm system can't either. And look, this is not just some theory. Outbreaks like SARS and avian influenza, they were really stark reminders of just how fast a local problem can become a global nightmare. I mean, these were massive wake-up calls, proving that every single nation needs a top-notch surveillance system. No exceptions. So what is this shield, really? Well, the official name is a Communicable Disease Surveillance and Response System. It's basically the public health machinery that's designed to detect, verify, and contain threats before they get totally out of hand. Let's unpack that definition for a second. The two key words there are ongoing and systematic. This isn't some random spot check. It's a continuous, nonstop cycle of gathering data, figuring out what it means, and then, and this is the important part, using it. Because at the end of the day, data without action, it's just noise. So this whole system really has two main jobs. First, it's our early warning system, right? It's scanning the horizon for new outbreaks. But second, it's also a program monitor. So think about all the efforts to eradicate diseases like measles or guinea worm. This system is how we track our progress. It tells us what's working and, just as importantly, what isn't. Okay, so let's pop the hood and take a look inside. We know what the shield is for, but how does it actually work day to day? What are the active duties it's performing to keep us all safe? These active duties are called the core functions. Think of them as the essential, hands-on tasks that move information from, say, a small local clinic all the way up to a national response team. This is the nitty-gritty process that turns a single piece of data into a life-saving action. This here shows the entire life cycle of a public health signal. It all starts with maybe a sharp-eyed doctor or a community health worker who notices something's off. From there, the case gets registered, it's confirmed with lab tests, and then it's reported up the chain. Now, at the top, analysts are looking for patterns, for trends. That analysis triggers a response. And this part is so crucial, feedback flows back down the chain, which makes the whole system smarter for the next time. Every single one of these steps is a link in the chain, and it can't be broken. All right, so having a process is one thing, but making sure it works reliably, that's a whole other ballgame. These active core functions, they can't just operate in a vacuum. They need a really solid foundation to stand on. So let's look at what makes the entire system strong and effective. It's such a simple but powerful idea. Our public health shield isn't just a list of actions, it's a structure. And just like any other critical piece of infrastructure, that structure needs to be maintained, it needs to be funded, and it needs to be strengthened, constantly. And this slide just illustrates the two sides of the coin perfectly. The core functions, that's what the shield does. It's the active duties we just walked through. But the support functions, that's what makes the shield strong. It's the foundation that allows all those core functions to happen in the first place. So what are these support functions? Well, think of them as the pillars holding the whole thing up. We're talking about having clear guidelines so everybody is on the same page. It's about continuous training for the staff so they can spot new threats. It means making sure you have the resources, the people, the money, the supplies. And of course, it's about seamless coordination between all the different partners involved. Without these pillars, the whole system just crumbles. This is the million-dollar question, right? We've built this system, we're supporting it, but how do we actually measure its performance? How do we monitor and evaluate it to make sure it's doing its job? You can't just cross your fingers and hope it's working. You've got to measure it. Okay, first up, completeness. Are we actually getting all the reports we're supposed to get? Because if some clinics or some hospitals go dark, it's like having giant holes in your fishing net. You could totally miss the first signs of an outbreak. We have to know if our data is complete. Next, timeliness. I mean, a report that shows up 2 weeks late, that's not a warning, it's a history lesson. The only thing that matters is that the data arrives fast enough for us to actually do something, to get out there, investigate, and contain the threat before it spins out of control. Speed is everything. And finally, maybe the most critical measure of all, usefulness. Look, we can have complete and timely data, but if it doesn't lead to action, what's the point? The whole system has to be able to use the information it gathers to detect outbreaks early, to guide the response, and ultimately to figure out if our control measures are even working. So let's move to our final section and see how all of this comes together. The core functions, the support structures, the quality checks, all for one single ultimate purpose: protecting our health. You know, everything we've talked about really boils down to this one idea from the World Health Organization. This whole complex system of surveillance, it's completely worthless if it doesn't trigger a response. The goal isn't just to watch. The goal is to act. And when this system works, wow, the results are incredible. Outbreaks are stopped dead in their tracks. Lives are saved. And when every country has a strong, responsive system, we build a world that is safer for everyone. For you, for me. That is what real global health security actually looks like. So the systems and the science, they're there. We know how to build this public health shield. We know how to maintain it. But it takes constant investment, it takes collaboration across borders, and it takes the political will to make it a priority. The shield itself is global, but its strength depends entirely on our shared global commitment to keeping it strong.